Therewith grey-eyed Athena departed over the unharvested seas, and left pleasant Scheria, and came to Marathon and wide-wayed Athens, and entered the good house of Erechtheus. Meanwhile, Odysseus went to the famous palace of Alcinous, and his heart was full of many thoughts as he stood there, or ever had he reached the threshold of bronze. For there was a gleam as if it were of sun or moon through the high-roofed hall of the great-hearted Alcinous. Brazen were the walls which ran this way and that, from the threshold to the innermost chamber, and round them was a frieze of blue, and golden were the doors that closed in the good house. Silver were the doorposts that were set on the brazen threshold, and silver the lintel thereupon, and the hook of the door was of gold. And on either side stood golden hounds in silver, which Hephaestus wrought by his cunning, to guard the palace of the great-hearted Alcinous, being free from death and age all their days. And within were seats arrayed against the wall this way and that, from the threshold even to the innermost chamber, and thereon were spread light coverings finely woven, the handiwork of women. There the Phaeacian chieftains were wont to sit eating and drinking, for they had continual store. Yea, and there were youths fashioned in gold, standing on firm-set bases, with flaming torches in their hands, giving light through the night to the feasters in the palace. And he had 50 handmaids in the house, and some grind the yellow grain on the millstone, and others weave webs and turn the yarn as they sit, restless as the leaves of the tall poplar tree. And the soft olive oil drops off that linen, so closely is it woven. For as the Phaeacian men are skilled beyond all others in driving a swift ship upon the deep, even so are the women the most cunning at the loom. For Athena hath given them notable wisdom in all their fair handiwork and cunning wit. And without the courtyard, hard by the door, is a great garden, off our plough gates, and a hedge runs round on either side. And there grow tall trees blossoming, pear trees and pomegranates, and apple trees with bright fruit, and sweet figs, and olives in their bloom. The fruit of these trees never perisheth neither faileth, winter nor summer, enduring through all the year. Evermore the west wind blowing brings some fruits to birth, and ripens others. Pear upon pear waxes old, and apple on apple, yea, and cluster ripens upon cluster of the grape, and fig upon fig. Thereto hath he a fruitful vineyard planted, whereof the one part is being dried by the heat, a sunny plot on level ground, while other grapes men are gathering, and yet others they are treading in the winepress. In the foremost row are unripe grapes that cast the blossom, and others there be that are growing black to vintaging. Thereto, skirting the furthest line, are all manners of garden beds, planted trimly, that are perpetually fresh. And therein are 2 fountains of water, whereof one scatters his streams all about the garden, and the other runs over against it beneath the threshold of the courtyard, and issues by the lofty house, and thence did the townsfolk draw water. These were the splendid gifts of the gods in the palace of Alcinous. Homer is picking up the tour guide from Athena to bring us into this heavenly place. I want to go eat all of the fruit right now, every fruit that exists. I'm recording this at the outset of spring, so it's a bad time for fruit, folks. And man, oh man, I just want a strawberry. I just want a strawberry right now. Maybe a good peach. I love a good pear. Man, oh man, I eat apples every day of my life, but that's more autumn than it is spring. I went to a vineyard last year and learned a little bit about winemaking. I'm sure many of you have as well. I can't drink wine. I don't appreciate wine. It gives me heartburn. I have some weird allergic reaction to it that makes my eyes swell shut. It's weird, I know. But I love the process of it. The grapes for wine not being the same grapes that you drink. Red wine and white wine not made from red grapes and green grapes. It's just the process in which you are putting it through to get the different colorations. That's how you can also get a rosé. I'm not an expert. I'm just reciting what I heard on a tour once. But this place seems like paradise. And maybe paradise for me is just a place where there's tons of fruit. Are there books? Are there books around? Is there a big library? Homer, tell me about the library in the Palace of Alcinous, please. What kind of books they got? I think the biggest takeaway is that this place seems almost otherworldly. I don't know how literally we are supposed to take the idea of the gods favoring this place, which is giving it a sort of sense of a place without death and decay, at least with the food, as they talk about the fruit trees never perishing, never failing, regardless of it being winter or summer, and they endure all through the year. Is that just the temperate climate in which they are, or is that a sort of supernatural thing the gods have bestowed upon this land? But it's also seemingly a place of order, abundance, and beauty. Everyone seems to be working toward a shared purpose. I mean, granted, we're not we're not like in the day-to-day life of the blue-collar people working the wine press here, but I think the overall image here is one of prosperity. It's wealth as well. Let's not overlook that, but it doesn't seem like it's garish wealth. There's a lot of talk of silver and gold at the outset here, but it's mentioned through the name of Hephaestus, which is a god and one of fire, a god of fire and metalworking and craftsmanship. And if you had products of his, it wasn't merely by acquisition. If you had that sort of divine artistry, it includes a sort of divine protection. It indicates, I think, your honor amongst civilization, the mortal civilization of this time. Remember how Menelaus gave Telemachus, or tried to give Telemachus, a gift that was made of Hephaestus. I also have been watching one of the great courses on the Greek world, and I would love more information on this. Maybe it'll go deeper. I'm not done with it yet, but how colorful, particularly with the golds and the blues and the silver, the Greek world was, and particularly in palaces and places of worship and things that we're seeing today. We get all of these statues or remnants of ruins that have stood the test of time for thousands of years, but they're all just of like blank marble. And it seems there's some indication that perhaps a lot of these things were gold plated or even painted at one time. That does not match with, our kind of blank canvas look at all of these things. What would it be like to step into this world? I think this passage does a great job of history isn't just blank white marble statues. You're going to walk into a place and be dazzled. The prosperity of this place, also indication by the talents of all of the people involved. We've heard the reputation of the Phaeacians with their ships, but we're given more insight into the women being almost divinely skilled at the loom, the cloths that they're making, as it uses a kind of simile or metaphor here of how they were woven so well and so tight that olive oil could drip off them. So hopefully, in addition to being wealthy and prosperous, they are also generous and will help Odysseus get on his way. But we'll find out when we actually get some characters interacting, which is not today, but maybe tomorrow. So join me here then, and we'll find out. Until then, okay, goodbye. Odyssey is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. The show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Odyssey, written by Homer. Theme song by Neuroflow. You can support this show and other shows like it by going to patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.